Welcome back to MTG Dungeon, everybody. Here with our guest commentator, Liam.
Why is there a cup? What's happening here? What's going on?
That's for the followers and subscribers and whatnot.
Wow.
So it gets filled up. Welcome back to MTG Dungeon, everybody. Every fucking time.
The same stream time, same level of professional
Right.
commentary.
So first match we have up is the Red-Black Midrange versus Humans.
Well,
So Red-Black doesn't have any board wipes, right?
he
in the main board at least.
Yeah, he's not playing any board wipes in the main board, but you can kind of be glad.
I mean, Blood Moon can lock him out, and I think he has enough spot removal that he should be okay.
If there's no Vial and there's no Noble Hierarch, Blood Moon actually decimates humans.
Oh yeah,
but it's not guaranteed.
No.
And then on the side of Red-Black, the Dreadhorde Arcanists are basically going to be recurring value.
I mean,
they're
snapcasters effectively.
Yeah, every turn. Like there's going to be a lot of value that's generated from that card. The only way that humans can interact with it main board is through knowing to meddling mage it if you're going first, which is unlikely. Thalia itself can make it taxing to play, and then Reflector Mage is pretty good as well. But without those being in play, the Arcanist is going to be awesome. He has his basic, but can't really cast anything off of that basic, so he's going to mulligan, which puts things definitely in the favor of the hand disruption deck.
Yeah, anytime you have to mulligan a hand disruption deck, it just feels bad. Like, oh, I'm going to 5 against Jund? Yeah, that's where I want to be.
Yeah, no, that's not good. Let's see.
Or going to 5 against Death Shadow? Yeah, that's exactly where I want to be.
There doesn't seem to be... There's none of the cards out of this red-black deck seem particularly bad in Game 1, except for Lightning Skelemental's probably too slow to be very important in this matchup. And then Hazoret is also probably too slow to really matter that much.
Oh, yeah. Hazoret's definitely more of a mid-range mirror breaker.
Everything else seems pretty fine, though. Liliana of the Veil is arguably not very good against humans, because there's a lot of humans that are come out early on that you don't really need to keep around. Like, you really don't need Noble Hierarch past a certain point.
And they're also very good at going wide.
Yeah, and if there's a lot of stuff going wide, don't really have a lot of options. He was assuming that the Aether Vial was going to get Inquisitioned, but that's probably unlikely considering that there's only 3 creatures in his hand. You can just let him keep the Aether Vial and just spend your removal spells on the creatures. Or if he's got Kolaghan's Command in his hand, which I'm not sure if he does or not.
And that's not a bad start for humans, because you have the Hierarch, Meddling Mage, and I think that's the Thalia's Lieutenant.
That is the Thalia's Lieutenant,
So,
yes.
I mean, that's not a bad starting 6.
No, and typically in humans, you want to have a 1-drop in your opener in every game. So he's taking the Hierarch, which means he might have a Kolaghan's Command in his opener for the Aether Vial, but you can also take the route of just like, hey, I'm going to use my Inquisition as a removal spell for your creature, and then there's less removal that I actually need in my hand to answer, and you can power out as much as you want with your Vial. I just got that covered. Rising Canopy is actually going to be an important card to help him catch back up in this mulligan against the Inquisition. It's debating on whether or not he wants to play Meddling Mage.
And I think you do, and you probably see either name Fatal Push or Lightning Bolt. You name one of the removals.
Yeah.
And it's going to catch immediate Lightning Bolt.
Yeah, probably named one and then got hit by the other.
Yep. I mean, in that position, I think you don't really have a choice. You're like, all right, just kind of...
Yeah, do the vibe check.
Yep.
What's up? You got a bolt? Okay, all right. We're done here. All right, cool. Moving on. There's Champion.
Champion Lieutenant is always just nice.
So I believe you can cast Champion and then
Violin.
in response. Oh no, it's the other way that makes it work out better. I think.
Well, no, you put Champion down first, and then you.
Yeah, no, but there's specifically if your Vial is on 1, you can cast Champion with the trigger on the stack.
Oh,
that's actually insane. That's actually great.
Yeah, because it's going to put the Champion higher than the 2 damage. Because 1 counter for the human coming in, plus the counter that the Lieutenant gives it before Kolaghan's Command resolves. That's fantastic.
Yeah, this is...
It's a very heads-up play by Ryan.
Yeah, that's actually great. There should be 2 more counters on the Champion.
Well, yeah, he's doing it in order.
Yeah. You just no. So if your Vial is on 1, you can hard cast Athalia's Lieutenant and then Vial in the champion,
Yes.
and that way everything gets counters distributed on it
Yes.
in the most optimal
Yes.
way.
Yeah, no,
This is a blowout. It gets a 5/5, a 3/3, and another 3/3. Actually, one of the lieutenants should be slightly bigger than the other one. Is that
yeah, I think
is that dice on 2 or 3 there?
the middle one I believe is on 3.
Okay, yeah. 5/4/3.
Yep. It's definitely a really bad spot for red black.
Especially considering he got blown out by the casting the Colgan.
Yes. It's like, hey, you think you're gonna blow me out?
He's taking
Reverse.
some damage. Okay, there's another Colgan's command.
I mean, target and so during the upkeep.
Yeah, makes him discard the card that he draws in draw step.
Yeah.
Kills the illusion creature for free.
Yes. But
It's
I mean,
basically
he's
a time walk.
It is, but he's still got to deal with the board, and that's the issue right now. So he's gonna draw an additional card. He needs a fatal push.
Dreadhorde Arcanist would be really good right here. He's got a land drop. Did he play the mountain? No,
No.
he did not. All right, last turn.
Last turn.
Yeah.
So he has a Thoughtseize.
It looks like he has a red card in his hand as well. It might be the... If it was a Seasoned Pyromancer,
Oh yeah, he would have snapped that off because the Thoughtseize is dead in his hand.
Yeah, unless he's got more removal that he wants to use.
If he had more removal, I think he would. Oh,
Noble Hierarch.
that's another and another Inquisition.
Looks like you're going for the Noble. I kind of like this. You don't really need to go all in. You can kind of just see what your opponent has.
Well, yeah, I mean, because I was like, that was lethal right there. You didn't have to go
Yeah.
all in.
So he did have a Fatal Push, which is, if he did have Seasoned Pyromancer in his hand,
Then,
that's why he didn't cast it.
yes.
Because you are forced to discard the cards when
Yes.
Seasoned Pyromancer comes into play. Is this a Dreadhorde Arcanist? No. He's cycling an Unearth. There's nothing in his graveyard. Plays the land tapped and passes back. He's got Thoughtseize, other card, and another card that we can't see. Okay, he's going to copy the Thalia's Lieutenant.
And he's okay, and then we're done here.
Yeah.
I think Zach was hoping, like, okay, if he plays another human... Well, if he played another human, yeah, he was just dead. It didn't matter, because the Exalted Trigger.
So, Auroch Champion against Black-Red.
This seems awful. Absolutely the worst card you could bring in ever.
Yeah, terrible. Yeah, that's basically an unblockable immortal creature right there.
Also, if Ryan knows he's up against like the elemental mid-range that Zach is playing, Plague Engineer should definitely be coming in. I don't know about Deputy of Detentions.
Deputy typically isn't very good against your opponent's removal heavy decks because it's basically just it sees play, takes something, then immediately dies.
Okay.
I don't know. I think you're really fine with just the Auroch Champion. He's obviously taking out more cards, so your Phantasmal Images are not good.
Yeah.
Because your opponent has many ways of targeting it. Yeah. And if you don't like the Reflector Mages, because you didn't see any creatures on your opponent's side, I can see bringing in the Auroch Champions and then...
Plague Engineer.
Yeah, Plague Engineer, maybe the Knight of Autumn, if you just want to have another creature that's big.
I mean, especially if you know that Zach, if they play Blood Moon decks, then yeah, it's like, hey, I can have a shot at blowing up that enchantment if I have a vial.
We don't know if I don't think this is not an accurate sideboard though.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So this is all speculation.
Like, I know the one he doesn't for sure run. He doesn't run Ravenous Trap on the board.
Oh yeah, well,
so
it's not a lot of reasons to Ravenous Trap. Looks like he's taking out Meddling Mage as well. If you don't know what your opponent's doing, then it's just a 2-mana 2/2.
Well, that and I mean, like he saw so many different removal spells. It's just kind of like Meddling Mage isn't. If your opponent is running 4 different removal spells, Meddling Mage isn't as good.
Yeah, definitely not as good. And we kind of saw that in the metagame when Humans was really big. A lot of decks that were trying to be mid-range or control were diversifying the removal as much as possible.
Yep.
And that's why you'd see like Blue-White Control playing Wrath of God and Supreme Verdict alongside of each other, like a 1 of Detention Sphere,
and then
Oust, Path, like
Condemn as well, since Death Shadow was also a big one. Like, oh hey, kill one, your other one dies.
Yeah, that's a bad time. On Zach's side, probably just brings in additional removal spells.
So I'm Plague Engineer, obviously.
Terminate, Young Pyromancer is fine. Bedevil is a bit slow, but it's still just a way to kill dudes.
Fulminator Mage, screw up his land base.
I think you're just committing to being a more consistent removal deck and cutting some of your mid-range elements. Like the Liliana of the Veils aren't very good here. The Fulminator Mage in your main board, probably not good enough. I'm not a really big fan of Skelemental in this matchup, considering that your opponent's just going to like, I'll take 6, I'll discard these 2 cards, and I still have like 5 power in play. So
yeah, I mean, humans is very good at emptying their hand very quickly. And so...
But even if they can't, usually the sequence in which they play their creatures result in creatures that are just big enough that the crackback is going to be greater.
I'll take 6, you take 9.
Yeah. You took, like, my Mantis Rider is just beating your Skelemental over time. That's fine. Liliana the Last Hope is also kind of questionable against humans. There's a lot of humans that it just immediately can nuke out of nowhere. Like,
but you have to be able to get it down fast enough.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it kills Thalia. It kills every single champion or lieutenant that doesn't have counters on it yet, which is probably unlikely.
I was like, yeah, when you cast it, it's very unlikely.
But, you know, if you have it alongside Plague Engineer, it can really open your opponent up to more options.
Yeah, in combination, I think that's probably a really good one. But
do you have the time?
I mean,
I think this is a fine like Bedlam Reveler matchup too. If you're just looking to chalk up on removal spells, cast a bunch of them, and then refuel and have like a decent power guy in play. And a 3/4 actually matches up pretty okay with a lot of the ground creatures.
The X-Men, I'm looking at Zach's list, right? Like Phyrexian Arena is probably a dead card. Sword of Fire and Ice and Hazoret are definitely coming out.
Sophie is a bit slow, although the Pro Blue is pretty okay.
I mean, so
if it ever deals combat damage, like the shock is actually pretty good too, but it is just slow.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah, because I was like, Mantis Riders, Unsettled Mariners, and Meddling Mages. I guess that's all it really has protection from. Because the only thing that's really going to be beating in most of the time is just that Mantis Rider. Reflector Mage typically won't be beating in unless there's a clear board.
Or you can just make your own creature bigger on defense.
Yeah.
I wonder if humans could effectively race a Pack Rat if you just like have a couple of removal spells and then you go all in on Pack Rat. If you had like a kind of mediocre hand from
the problem is that like
then maybe
humans has the advantage of having evasion with the Mantis Rider against Pack Rat.
Yeah, and if there's any deputy detentions, oh man.
Sadness on the stack. Sadness resolves. I mean, at that point, you just blame the plague, right? The plague killed the rats.
Yeah.
Alright. So red black going first. I was hoping for a turn 1 Thoughtseize.
Yeah. He might have Bolt or Push in his opener. There's a lot of 1 mana spells available.
I'm pretty sure you should go Mana Accelerator. Turn 1.
Yeah.
Because you have a second land, and then you have a champion, and then another Hierarch.
And you kind of put your opponent in the spot of like, okay, well, if I don't want to spend my removal on this Hierarch, maybe next turn there's just a Mantis Rider.
Yeah.
If he's got Collective Brutality here, that could be okay. I don't know. Brutality's not that great. He decides to push it now. He might have drawn that or just thought about it more and then decided to commit.
Yeah. He did keep...
There's an Auroch Champion.
There's Auroch Champion. He did keep at least 1 Reflector Mage in.
Okay, alright.
So I was like, alright.
I mean, he did kind of Meddling Mage, and then the Phantasmal images don't seem very good.
No, yeah. But Phantasmal Image can cop an Auroch Champion, and then he can't target it, right? Because protection.
Technically true, yeah.
That also seems like very much of a waste of a Phantasmal Image.
Yeah.
But
an additional 1/1. I mean, when that 1/1 is unblockable and immortal, not bad. There's what is that?
Dreadhorde Arcanist.
Okay, he was pointing at the Auroch Champion.
Oh, because he gained a life.
Okay,
Come into play. Oh, I say if Ryan has a third land, just being like,
You can
hey,
you can meddling mage fatal push right here and just completely nerf the Arcanist.
currently yes.
Yeah.
And then you swing. Why would you not swing at the champion?
I don't know.
The tag Ryan, stop making bad plays.
Double block. I mean, you could just double block.
That's true.
Yeah. I don't think you want to be the blocking deck in this match.
I don't think you do either.
Yeah, you probably want to just be getting in.
Ooh, red black stuck on 2 mana.
Well, I mean, the creatures that he has in play are really good.
And that's a Mariner.
All right, well, fatal push unlikely to happen at this rate. Okay, there's a third land.
All right.
You know, if that was Dahlia, not Unsettled Manor, that'd be a lot worse.
Oh yes.
But the value that can be generated from Young Pyromancer and Dreadhorde Arcanist is much greater than what Ryan has going on right now.
And Ryan should have swung twice, so I mean, if Zach is 2 points less currently, if that becomes relevant later, obviously we can.
It is something to keep in mind, but I doubt that's what.
Oh yeah, humans rarely hits for exact. It's always like, hey, you're dead by -5.
So it looks like his hand is pretty clogged. If like one lightning bolt here would really just break everything open. You're gonna pay 2 mana to something. You could have maybe Brutality, Terminate.
I mean,
okay, there's a bolt. He's paying 2 mana to. Oh yeah, that's really good. Okay, and then he can choose to let the Arcanist get double blocked. But actually, no. You attack with Arcanist, you flashback bolt.
Yeah,
kill Meddling Mage.
Kill Meddling Mage.
That's really good.
And you still block the champion. Yeah.
Yeah. Man.
But so he does actually cast. Okay, he does actually cast bolt, right? So that does trigger the Pyromancer.
Yes, it is a cast.
Yeah.
It's free. It is champion.
Ooh. Well, you know one of them's gonna die to a fatal push.
Yeah. And we'll probably, I don't know. He might just get in with the elementals, but it's probably.
Oh wow. Okay.
Jeez. He's got it all. I mean, at this point, you can probably just start getting in with the elementals and just try to apply some pressure. Or a champion give you life from the tokens as well.
Mm-hmm. Remember, 8 creature enters the battlefield. I'm getting flashbacks of the Lily ult versus Soul Sisters.
Oh, jeez.
18 zombies. Okay, gain 4 life for each one. Swing. Trigger again. Cool. Just like, I think at one point Zach swung for like 240 and Sal went to like 6. And it was just like...
Okay.
It's just like, ooh.
Plague Engineer on Elemental.
So that I believe that the Arcanist is also an Elemental?
No, it's a human. I think it... Wait, no, it's a zombie wizard. That's right.
Zombie wizard? Okay.
Yeah.
And Zach doesn't currently have a way to... there's a Bedevil. See, he didn't currently have a way to... and he has a Liliana on the board. All right.
Yeah, and the Elemental is immediately going to die to state-based effects because the cast of Bedevil
yes.
triggers the Elemental to come in play.
Yes. Wait, he didn't cast Fatal Push?
Yeah, choosing not to.
I know.
Reflector Mage looking kind of awkward. Could bounce the Arcanist and like buy a turn.
I think it's fine. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
That's the end. I mean, I think you have to kind of attack Lily here.
I mean, your opponent's at 20. Got a long way to go.
Yeah. And Lily will definitely just give you the value over time.
Yeah.
It's so weird just seeing, like, he's a red-black deck, but here's the...
Oh, the Painlands.
Well, the Painlands are not in those colors. It's like, oh.
Yeah. Is he playing one of each? Because that'd be very funny.
I think he is, actually.
That's awesome.
No. Yes?
Second Pyromancer. Man.
So it's an updated list either, because he doesn't have those on his list that he sent me. So I'm guessing that's a recent update.
Any
Oh,
Inquisitions,
wow.
gates a card, gets 2 elementals, picks up Lily. Yep.
I don't think humans can come back from this.
Yeah.
Why would you not block?
I mean, it's
Oh,
got no power.
Lily upticked. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I don't think humans at this current board state can come back.
It's looking pretty unlikely. Just keeps tagging the Lily.
Lily will never go above 4.
She stays at 3.
I'm trying to think of what like ideally top cards that could draw or a card you would want to play right now.
Multiple Auroch champions that cascade into Champion of the Parish.
Zach doesn't play either of those cards.
What? That's what he Oh, for what Zach needs?
Yeah.
That's winning. What do you mean? What does Zach need?
What card would really just start closing the game out? That's what I'm trying to like.
Recasting the young Pyromancer in his hand and just continuing
Well,
to
he
do
can't
what he's
because Reflector
doing.
Mage.
Yeah,
But I mean, he gets an
waiting a
Arcanist.
turn. Yeah, he's just he doesn't really need much more than what he's got. He's kind of just winning this grindy value game over time.
Yeah.
His attacks aren't exceptionally good, but he doesn't need to be the aggressor here. He's just
Kitesail Freebooter. It's not gonna do a whole lot.
Yeah, I mean that Arcanist has multiple fatal pushes that
Yeah.
it can flash back. So at this rate, you're basically just looking at your opponent's foil cards. You get an Unearth. Okay.
But I want the Pyromancer.
Back to 3, Lily. Okay, so
he does have a way to trigger Revolt, so he does have
Yeah, you can plus Lily on a Reflector Mage, attack with Dreadhorde Arcanist, Fatal Push, the Kitesail Freebooter, and then even if your opponent blocks, it doesn't matter. So you got a free attack in with the Arcanist at least.
Yeah, I was thinking the same way you could like double block and kill it, but like no.
Yeah, plus on a Reflector Mage, kill
Yeah.
a Freebooter in combat with the trigger.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely needs to recast the Young Pyromancer before going into combat and doing that though. That's a second Dreadhorde Arcanist.
Does it have a land drop for turn? Is now the question. So he can't do both now. He can't cast Pyromancer and because you have to pay for Fatal Push, right?
No, it's free.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, every time it attacks, it flashbacks the spell with converted mana cost less than or equal to its power.
Yeah. Okay.
For free every turn, but then it exiles the spell.
Boo.
It's in combat Snapcaster Mage. It's got a lightning bolt here. Oof.
Oh. All right. I think if I'm humans, I actually just pick up right now.
Yeah.
Because at this point.
Well, you did win game 1, and you're the faster deck, so you can let your opponent run out the clock.
I guess.
You could just keep your... Like, if this was Ariel play, I'd just keep my eye on the clock. Once there's, 10 minutes left, then just go to the next game. Or, 15 minutes left, go to the next game. Because you can win the game within, 10 minutes and turns before your opponent can. So you might as well.
That's fair.
If you want to game the system, kiddos.
Hey, I mean...
A tie is better than a loss.
Sometimes.
I mean, points-wise, typically is.
Typically, this is something I've definitely learned. And so, attacking, he does have the Revolt trigger from Second Land earlier.
If it's early on in the tournament, then tying is not as good.
Yeah, I was like, that's something I had to learn over time was taking draws early in GPs or now Magic Fests. It's in all honesty, ask your opponent if they will concede to you. If they don't, then concede to them.
Hmm.
Because
I think that's just good advice in general. You should just ask your opponent if they would concede to you, just in every match, just to see. Yeah.
But no, so you do that because you being in that, having that tie puts you in a very odd bracket.
Well, I mean, if you tie round one, you're probably going to play against somebody else who tied, and then you don't know why they went to time.
Well, usually it's gonna be like a control me or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So I said that it puts you in a, depending on what your deck is, it puts you in a very weird spot, as opposed to just taking the loss and being in that different bracket, and being in the bracket that you can try and come up through.
Yeah, it's much worse to tie in the first
Four
three
rounds.
to 4 rounds.
It's 4 rounds. In my experience, if you tie in the first 4 rounds, it's awful.
It's not awful. It just puts you into a weird situation.
It puts you in a weird situation, and then it's just like, because at that point, like especially on day one, right? A draw is pretty much a loss because you can't lose. Like you can only lose one more game technically, or one more game. You can lose 2 games, then you're out of day 2 effectively.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. So it's effectively the same thing as a loss. I think I would just rather be in that.
But you can go X2-1 and still day 2.
Right, that's what I'm saying. No, because you have to have 18 points, which is 6 wins. So you can go 6-1-1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's what I'm saying. Like at that point, the loss is better.
All right. So if you had 3 ties, no losses, then you could day 2, but not if you had 4 ties.
That's yes.
All right.
And that's just it's the weird thing. When you've grinded the things long enough, like some of us have, you start realizing those things, and so that's why that's why the bigger tournaments I've gone away from like blue-white control decks because they usually take long if we end up going to a draw.
I've not played blue-white control in tournaments on principle because of stuff like that, where I just don't want to go to time every round. I don't want to have long games and then be locked out of getting food or going to the bathroom in between rounds. Right.
Yeah.
Play them quick.
Here's I just like, yep, we're just gonna slowly kill you with elementals. The only time I played like a blue-white X deck was in Amonkhet Standard because you had Approach the Second Sun. That would just end the game.
All right.
And so that was the only time I was like, this is fine because like
I played
either I'm gonna win the game or our opponent's gonna win the game playing blue-white control, right? We're like, one of us is gonna win the game. We're not gonna draw this out. It's like cast Approach, counter, counter, counter. Okay, you win. We're done.
I played blue-white control in RTR Theros Standard, and that kind of helped form my opinion on whether or not I wanted to play control in tournaments. Because, like, wow, every single game we're going real late. Like, I've got 14 lands in play, and the game's not over yet. Like, maybe this isn't what I want to be doing.
I feel like Stoneforge has at least helped that a little bit because you can now able to put a clock with, like, Batterskull and whatnot.
Nobody's playing Stoneforge in blue-white control.
Yeah, they are.
Like, it's fallen off. It's a minority of decks that are doing it.
It is. But like that helps get the it helps you end the game.
At some point, if you're playing blue-white control, you just have to say like, okay, I'm going to just animate my main land and attack here, and even if you resolve a problematic permanent on your next turn, the cards that I have in my hand are good enough to answer something even if it does resolve.
Yeah.
And I need to conclude what's happening here.
Yeah. I think I know it's a bigger problem for a lot of newer players is knowing where that corner is.
Yeah, when you can just decide like, hey, all right, we're no longer holding on the brake. We're putting pedal to the metal.
Yeah.
We're getting this done. That's right. He's got his island. He's immune to Blood Moon. Wait, no, he needs the plains.
But Liam, how would he cast Noble Hierarch?
We're talking about big brain plays. Me, Felix, and Brandon.
Oh no.
And Brandon was like, my favorite big brain play was Alex playing like a basic
Mountain for Blood Moon. Like, he's never gonna live that down.
Yeah. That's next level. I can't be if he Blood Moons me, I still have my basic mountain.
And we all just look at
Yeah,
him.
you have a lot of basic mountains.
Right?
Yeah.
We all just
They're all mountains, in fact.
Yeah, we all just I was there. We all just gave him this look. He's like, what? And we're like, all of your land are
My personal favorite big brain play was Mason asking me if he could redirect Serum Visions to his Spellskite. I just looked at him like, what do you mean?
Technically, yes. It doesn't do anything, though.
You can technically pay for that ability to happen, and then
Yes.
it will immediately fizzle, and your opponent still gets to do whatever.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you technically can, but it doesn't do anything.
Yeah. It's like, what? Point to where Spellskite's hand is. Where's the cards in Spellskite's hand?
But I mean,
Show me.
that's understandable if you're playing like Death Shadow, though, right? Like, pay 2 life. I'm at 1.
Well, that's why the white-based Shadow decks play the one of the Phyrexian activated ability. What's it? Oh man, what's the name of that guy? It's a 1-mana artifact. It's got a Phyrexian black activated ability that takes counters off of things.
Yeah.
And you're just playing that because you can tutor for it with the Knight.
Ranger Captain.
Ranger Captain is yes. There you go. And then just pay a bunch of life into it.
Yeah. And then cry when your opponent gets shot too.
Well, you live by the shadow, you die by the shadow.
You live by the Phyrexian mana, you die by the Phyrexian mana.
Yeah.
I don't know why Ryan just hasn't scooped at this point. Like, this is just an army of...
Hey, he's running out the clock.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, he's still at 18. He could top deck several Mantis Riders.
Alright, I'm pretty sure the Skelemental should end the game, right? Because there's 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 20. There's 22 points of damage. And at most, Ryan can block 2 of it.
Just get in with the Pyromancers, dude. Come on.
He's like, bolt you, get 2 more. Yeah, it's like, alright, come on.
Yeah.
Block Fulminator. Okay, so you're taking 1, 5, 11.
4.
It should be lethal.
10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
If he's at
15,
1,
16.
I'm really upset.
He's at 2.
He's at 1.
Okay.
If you would attack the goddamn Pyromancer.
Yeah, get this shit done. Get this over with.
If Zach comes back into the chat, hey, he found a Mantis Rider. GG.
Yeah, what up? Vigilance. Attack you.
Gain a life.
What up?
Oh.
Attack Lily. She's at 1.
Say it. You should attack with both. Kill Lily. Send a message.
Yeah. I told you. She's never getting above 4. Never.
Like we say, especially around our play group, right? It's not about winning or losing. It's about sending the message. Hey, Liam, you might have killed me with Death Shadow, but I killed all 4 of your goddamn fish.
I do not do that type of stuff. I am the least fun when it comes to, like, playing in FNMs, because I'm always just like, I want to win as fast as possible in the best way possible, and that's what's fun for me.
So, like, when we're getting close to a tournament, I'll change gears and start doing that, but I'm like, there's no major tournaments coming up. All right.
Well, like, I know Mike will do stuff like that where he just, like, he can go for lethal, but he's just having fun with his board state, and so he'll just pass the turn and let the game continue.
Yeah.
And I'm over there just, like, seething with my tryhard. Like, just end this. Suboptimal.
I still really want Dan to, like, play Jund on camera again. It's like, I'm watching Liam just, like, eyes start twitching. Just...
I mean, it's... Jund had... Okay, so, like... Jund is a deck that accelerates in the hands of, like, an experienced player, because there's a lot of things that you can optimize in Jund. Knowing what you're playing against helps you make decisions. But Jund has a lot of cards that, like, help you make up for misplays. Like, you can fail to Inquisition the right creature, but then you just draw Liliana of the Veil and you make them edict the creature you should have taken with your hand disruption.
Or trophy, or push,
yeah,
or hold,
there's, like, a lot of get out of jail. Not necessarily get out of jail free, but there's a lot of cards that are forgiving. And in a deck like Tron, that's true as well, where you have these cards that are just, like, get out of jail free. Like, okay, well, maybe I didn't perfectly deal with your intro to the game, but we're just going to reset everything because I've got Oblivion Stone.
Right, or Ugin Downtick, yeah.
Shadow does not have a lot of get out of jail free cards. You've
No.
got Teamer Battle Rage, which is kind of like
okay,
it's just over.
I'm still upset about that game where you're like, Battle Rage, Stone, like, just the perfect 3 cards. I'm just like, of course Liam has the only 3 cards that kill me.
Yeah, exactly. Watching Dan play Grixis would be more frustrating for me than watching him play Jund.
Hear that, Dan? Buy GDS. Watch Liam just have aneurysms all day.
He can build Jund Shadow, technically.
I mean, I feel like he could just build Grixis Shadow. Like, he'd be missing, what, Snapcasters, really?
And the land base is different with getting Scalding Tarn and Polluted Delta. And then the Snapcaster Mages are the other expensive card. So, like, between that, and the shocks.
So what I'm hearing is that we'll make a budget shadow for Dan and really make Liam upset.
Oh, so your budget Snapcaster Mage is Dreadhorde Arcanist, and then you're playing multiple copies of Scions in your main board to help the Arcanists, kind of.
I could see that.
There was a list made by Todd Anderson that was centered around Scions and Dreadhorde Arcanist in a Shadow deck, but he took out Stubborn Owls in order to kind of make the magic happen, and I'm super against that.
Yeah, I was like, I feel if you're going, the reason to go Grixis especially is Stubborn Owl is a very
Stubborn Owl, and then
is a very
Top
key
Scour.
card.
Like,
yes, because like if you need an early Gurmag, especially against a not white deck, it's very difficult to deal with.
The reason that Grixis is the best variant is because you have Stubborn Isle, which is 1 mana negate is incredible permission.
Yes.
And then fast Gurmag Anglers.
Yeah.
And your card advantage card of Snapcaster Mage. Like,
yeah, I think the only deck really that Stubborn Isle is just awful against is humans. Because there's like Reflector Mage
pick
or
Vial on turn 1, it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
It's also not very good against Eldrazi Tron, because there's only the you need to get rid of the chalices, but it's easier to like sideboard out the stubs, bring in artifact destruction for the chalices, and then Karn is the only other thing that you can really Stubborn Isle.
Yeah, but I think you just bring in Disdainful Stroke anyway because
exactly. It just covers more.
Yeah,
like All Is Dust destroys you. You can Stubborn Isle that, but again, Disdainful Stroke
is the same thing. Yeah,
as well. So it's like not very good there either.
And also Disdainful hits like Smashers and TKSs that are not under Cavern.
Do Walking Ballistas that cost more than 3 mana.
Yeah.
So it's much better all around.
Hey, they're done shuffling. All right.
The shufflingest format. It's not quite Legacy though. Legacy's got a bit more shuffling, I think.
I feel Legacy does. Vintage, depending on the matchup, but Vintage is always just about like dumping hands and trying to win that turn, more so.
Yeah.
But Legacy definitely.
Legacy has more just drawing cards and touching libraries and shuffling libraries.
Yeah. Is it because of Brainstorm Fetchland?
Yeah. That's ridiculously strong synergy. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Looks like Red Black took a mulligan.
Which, is not good, but it's not the end of the world.
He's also on the draw too, so
he's got a lot of effects that generate multiple sources of card advantage over the course of a game.
Yeah.
You can come back from a mulligan with the assistance of Arcanist or the Young Pyromancers or the Lilianas.
Did you watch Dan's game that we covered yesterday?
Not yet.
I think it was Aim at Titan versus Hardened Scales.
How many cheats on camera?
Not actually. I don't think there was really any.
All right.
I think there might have been like one or two like slight misplays maybe, but like Dan once upon a time, he Ancient Stirrings, and like for 5 minutes he's debating between Engineer Explosives or like a Simic bounce land.
Yeah.
And it's just like Dan, like
please, my boy, please.
We're like on the current board state, you probably want to take Explosives and put it on 1. Because Kyle had Hardened Scales and an Animation Module, a Welding Jar, and a Mox Opal. And so I'm like, no, like if you do it on 1, you're taking 2 permanents away. Because if he wants to save his Animation Module, he has to sack Welding Jar. But the bigger one is you're getting rid of the Hardened Scales.
Yeah.
And that's what really lets that deck just go.
He actually said that he had a judge tell him that he could pay colorless for the Engineered Explosives, which is technically true. You could just pay a colorless in order to cast it. Yeah. But Sunburst doesn't work that way. And
correct.
I had that talk with him. We're like, yeah, technically the judge didn't lie to you, but you wouldn't get any counters because that's not how Sunburst works.
Yeah, no. I was like, if like a Thalia is in play, right? Like, cast this for a colorless, still on 0, blow up everything else, blow up all the tokens.
Yeah. Well, Thalia does literally nothing against EE. Does nothing. Thalia literally does nothing. Because you're like, okay, well, I want to cast this on 1. Okay, well, I'll cast this on 0. I'll pay 1 red for the tax, and then I got it on 1.
Is that how that works?
Yes, that's how that works.
Okay, because
because if you're like, oh well, I want to cast this on 2. Okay, well, I'll choose 1, but the Thalia tax will be 2 separate colors of mana. Sunburst 2. Thalia does literally nothing. Unless you're trying to cast it on 0 and you only have colored mana in play, that's the only time Thalia matters. It's wild.
That's because I thought it's this always say non-creature spells cost an additional 1, right?
Yeah, an additional colorless to cast. So you're like, well, I want to cast this on 2. I'm going to choose to pay 1 blue for this spell as the cost, but the tax, I'll pay another mana. Now it sunbursts in with the 2 different colors of mana. Because it only checks the sunburst when it...
Right, but so what I'm saying, so if you're trying to sunburst for 0 and only have blue mana,
then you can't.
Yeah, okay, yes, that's a very roundabout way of I was like, no, I was like, because whatever tax you pay in colors, that goes, yeah, okay. Unsullied Mariner and Mantis Rider.
Yeah, it's coming out the gate pretty fast. He's got
Fatal Push?
Pays the tax for the Manor, because there's no Revolt to go after the Mantis Rider. This is a pretty decent start from Ryan, but there's a Plague Engineer.
What's the other card that's in
And
Ryan's
Offends
hand?
of the Foremost, which he's probably going to take because it is just a 4/4.
Oh, yeah.
And every time it attacks, it puts a counter on another creature. So unless you've got...
It's another tap creature, I believe, so it wouldn't actually put it on.
Yeah, well, no.
Wouldn't put it on Rider.
It doesn't put it... Yeah, exactly, that's right.
So,
but it is just 4 power.
Right, I mean, I think... the 4 power...
Unless your hand is like Young Pyromancer.
He has a Terminate in hand, I think.
So, yeah, unless your hand is like Young or Seasoned Pyromancer.
Ooh, Zach stuck on 2 land is not great here.
Typically, Screw beats Flood, though, although there's no Flood on the other side.
Yeah.
There's a Hierarch. Okay, attack for 4.
Attack for 4. Because, yeah, I mean, there's no...
Because
you can just violin the Plague Engineer.
He's got no reason to put the Engineer into play yet. Unless you just want to go for more points of damage, but you've got a 4.
I mean, at that point, you're only increasing the 1 point of damage.
Yeah.
If you flashed in, so...
You are diversifying the amount, like the ways you're getting in damage, so you don't get blown out by like a removal spell in combat and get time locked. But
yeah.
I think at this point, since you're operating on low resources, you just kind of want to make him have it. He shocks. There's a Plague Engineer naming Humans. Rest in peace, Noble Hierarch. Now he's choosing the Violin. You could name what is Plague Engineer? It's a
zombie, I believe.
No, it's something else. It's like it's something weird. It's not a construct. It's something. It's like a carrier or something like that. It's a weird one.
Damn, what is a carrier?
It's a carrier.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a weird one.
All right. Yeah. There's...
Like, pretty sure it's not.
Was it?
I mean, making it a zombie would be a little too good.
Why?
Because then it just slots into a tribal deck that nerfs other tribal decks, and I don't really think that's like.
But you just Plague Engineer their zombies, and you just giggle like, all right.
Well, yeah, it is one-sided as well. So gets in with both. There's the Terminate on the Mantis Rider.
I think you just block. I think you just trade.
Yeah.
I was like,
There's a Thalia. That's a great follow-up.
That's a great follow-up.
If he's got something to play off of his Vial, it'd be even better.
He's like, pay 2. Does it have a kill spell for Thalia?
Unearth, Plague Engineer. Inhuman. There she goes.
Oof.
Man.
Sadness on the stack right here. Yeah. Sadness is definitely resolving.
Yeah. I'll spend
he
2
definitely...
mana to get my 3 mana removal spell.
He was about to cast a Hierarchy, he just drew it. I was like, wait.
Hold up. I feel like this just happened.
That's not how this works.
Yeah.
Ooh. I mean, Zach
clock on Zach's side.
Zach may have turned the corner here.
Man, I played against Fish in the last round of FNM on Monday, and both sideboard games, my opener had double engineer.
Phantasmal Image Copy Plague Engineer.
Hell yeah.
Name Carrier. Or Elemental.
Yeah. And Terminate.
Okay.
No, but my last round against Fish, in both sideboard games, I had double Plague Engineer in my opener.
Oh, no.
And I was like, I did not cut my deck. But I did not, intend for this to happen, but you cannot beat this. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah.
All Fish minus 2, minus 2.
They could, but
The odds.
Yeah, well, I mean, they have to have triple Lord by like turn 3.
Yeah,
and that's really where it's like,
it was especially bad because I had hand disruption any mulligan.
Oh,
okay. The last game, I was like, oh. Well, I mean, I'm not going to not keep this hand.
Yeah.
It's not fun, but this gets it done. God damn.
It's, hey, you. Boom.
Well, just going to resolve this. First one's pretty bad. Yeah. Second one, all right, we're done here.
Yeah, he's like, cool.
Yeah, we're done.
Trigger Bolt. Inquisition. All right, we can see what Ryan's been drawn. Oh, look at that. Thalia.
My 1 toughness creatures. Oh, there's a champion, too.
Oh.
You can't even put champion into play and try to vial something
I
in
know,
response because it's state-based effects and the champion immediately dies. Just the worst. And there's a second Inquisition in Graveyard and a Fatal Push.
Oh, and discarding... Goodness. Yeah, and Fatal Push Unearth. Oh, God.
The bad beats.
I'm not gonna lie, I really actually enjoy Zach's deck. I'm like, I just see interactions I wouldn't even think about, right? Like, Arcanist, Unearth.
Yeah.
It's like, oh. You had to think about that.
Yes, pretty good. Unearthing Season Pyromancer is also super good.
Unearthing Plague Engineer or Skelemental is also pretty good.
Unearth, pretty good.
Yeah, it's like, Bolt you.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's dead.
Bolt you.
Bolt you again. Yeah, he's just dead, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's at 5.
Super dead.
Oh, they're on turns.
And he gets the flashback of Bolt. Yeah. I definitely do still think it was the right call for Ryan to stall out the game in the second game.
Yeah. I mean, like...
It didn't pay off, but, you know.
And Ryan's just dead.
Activate file. What's up? Oh!
Oh! Ryan is still in this. Wait.
Named elementals. You could have named human
Wait,
pre-combat.
did Zach not bolt? Oh, I'm assuming Zach bolted as well.
Yeah.
So,
There's
okay.
a Bolt in exile.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes way more sense.